Hello, everyone. Welcome to Feedstuffs 365. I'm Sarah Muirhead. Joining us today to talk about biosecurity and livestock production and the impact on animal and gut health is Dr. Jordan Gebhardt of Kansas State University. Dr. Gebhardt is assistant professor at Kansas State, and he is part of a fabulous lineup of speakers for the upcoming 2024 Chem and Intestinal Health Symposium. It's a free online symposium, October 16th and 17th, open to all and viewable on demand if you can't catch it on those dates. So, welcome, Dr. Gebhardt. Great to have you with us today.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
So now for the Chemin Symposium that's upcoming, you address biosecurity in the hog industry and its impact on gut health and animal health. So let's dig into that a bit by starting having you give us an example or two where biosecurity is well implemented in the swine industry. What are some of those examples?
Yeah, one of the real highlights of biosecurity in the swine industry that we have is our application of biosecurity practices in our breeding herd, on our sow farms. We do a lot of biosecurity practices really well in sow farms, focused on personnel entry with our entry benches, shower entry and exit, focusing on decontaminating incoming supplies into the sow farm, and even going as far in many cases as air filtration and the biosecurity of the feed supply and incoming water as well. So over the past several decades, we've really improved biosecurity of our breeding herds as we've dealt with challenges such as PRRS virus or porcine epidemic diarrhea virus. So at the sow farm level, biosecurity is implemented on a very routine and at a very daily basis at a high level.
So what's an example of or two of where we might be able to improve things? You know, when it comes to
Yeah.
biosecurity, there's probably new things we're learning all the time. What are you thinking there?
One of the big areas of focus that so much emphasis has been placed on that breeding herd. Over the past several years, we've recognized as an industry, we need to continue to improve the biosecurity practices of downstream production. Once those pigs are weaned, they go to a nursery or go to a wean to finish barn. That mid-late growing and finishing pig, we haven't focused as much on biosecurity for, which has allowed lateral disease transmission between sites, generally in very swine-dense regions. And also, in addition to grow finish pig biosecurity, the transportation biosecurity of bringing those animals to market has been an area that we've recognized we spread pathogens around. And it's a costly process and an inconvenient process to sanitize all those trucks and trailers with every load. But as an industry, we need to continue to learn more how we can implement that well and how we can improve the biosecurity associated with growing and finishing pig health, but also how do we move those market animals ultimately to their final destination safely to prevent diseases coming back to our farms.
You know, on the poultry, those big poultry integrators, they just drive those trucks. They monitor avian influenza, the migration patterns of the birds, waterfowl, and then they drive their trucks through massive foot baths, I guess you'd
Yep.
call it. So maybe some
And
of
it,
those
we
things.
Absolutely. We know how to do it well, but some of the challenges that we implement are how do we do it in the climates that we have in very cold regions of the country when it's 10, 20, 30 degrees Fahrenheit below zero. Disinfecting vehicles is really, really challenging. So we need to continue to understand the potential value proposition of doing so from a biosecurity and animal health perspective, which then allows us as an industry to innovate and come up with creative solutions to reach our goals and maintain animal health. But yeah, disinfecting both the outside and inside of trucks is such an important aspect.
Let's talk gut health and its importance. What's the connection then between biosecurity and gut health?
Absolutely. So gut health in its simplest sense is the core of animal health. It's the foundation of animal well-being, animal health. The gut is a very complex organ in pigs, as it is in humans and other species, and really is that media in which it interacts with the surrounding world, including the absorption of nutrients, the microbial populations, both healthy synergistic microbes, but also pathogenic microbes. And really the body's immune system is fundamental within the GI tract as a whole. So establishing and maintaining a healthy gut is very, very important. Through biosecurity, there's a few different ways we can do this. First and foremost, through biosecurity practices, we can prevent the introduction of pathogenic bacteria into the gut. So keeping the pathogenic organisms like Salmonella or E. coli or viruses such as PEDV out of the GI tract can help establish healthy microbial populations. The other aspect of that is around the concept of stressors. That when an animal is stressed, it's more susceptible to negative health outcomes. So when we have a stressful event like weaning and we have biosecurity practices, let's say, that have some area for improvement, pathogenic bacteria and viruses are getting into the GI tract around that stressful time, it really creates an environment in which that pathogenic bacteria can proliferate and ultimately lead to increased permeability of the small intestine, of the GI tract, so different toxins and different bacteria can actually cross that gut barrier and enter into circulation. That has a whole host of negative outcomes as well. So biosecurity allows us to maintain a healthy animal in a stress-free environment, first and foremost by making sure that we are keeping out those pathogenic, both bacteria as well as viruses that can infect the GI tract of that animal.
So feed, of course, certainly has a role to play when it comes to gut health. Talk about feed biosecurity and its role when we talk gut health.
Absolutely. So a comprehensive biosecurity program includes a variety of different areas. We've briefly mentioned that as an industry, how we do such a good job in our sow farms of personnel entry and supplies and shower in, shower out types of programs to enhance our biosecurity. But feed biosecurity is a very important one there as well, particularly in this concept of gut health, because that feed is directly going to the gut. So making sure that with that feed that we prevent pathogenic bacteria and viruses from entering that feed or that feed ingredient that ultimately becomes feed is really, really important, again, on that bioexclusion concept, keeping those pathogens out of the GI tract. And by doing so, and through those biosecurity practices focused on the feed itself, we can help maintain and establish healthy microbial populations, and really with the goal of establishing a very robust intestinal barrier, both in terms of its structure and function. Again, biosecurity includes lots of different areas. Feed is one of those. Feed is one that we can do something about. We can focus on our biosecurity practices in the feed mill. There's a variety of different feed additives that can have potential benefit, both at reducing the risk of pathogen transmission, but also have potential impacts at improving gut health and gut integrity as well.
Key takeaways for our audience here today. What final thoughts do you want to leave them with?
Absolutely. So we really know what to do well for biosecurity as an industry. We've established many of those techniques. We need to continue to understand how we can apply them to some other areas as well. How can we take that good information, those good practices that we know keeps disease out and maintains healthy animals, ultimately for growth rate and feed efficiency and overall health? How do we continue to apply those to some other still challenging areas, growing and finishing biosecurity and transport, market transport, sanitation. So continuing to improve those areas will help maintain healthy animals, and ultimately will help improve the success of our swine producers and swine industry as a whole.
All very important things we need to think about. So, Dr. Jordan Gebhardt of Kansas State University, thank you so much for your time and your insight here today.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me.
A reminder that if you'd like to hear more from Dr. Gebhardt, or if you'd like to hear the other speakers, you can tune into the 2024 Chem and Intestinal Health Symposium. And you can do that it's right there on your screen, but it's also at chemin.com/symposium. Free symposium, online, open to all, and viewable on demand if you can't make it on October 16th and 17th. Until next time, for Feedstuffs, I'm Sarah Muirhead.